morning you guys, it's Karen and today I'm talking about my favourite skincare, and you can probably see the sun is shining in the window. I think this might be the last time I get to wear a jumper. I think I need to put my winter clothes away and I am unhappy about that. I don't like summer at all. I don't like it because I get allergies. My husband doesn't like it because he gets allergies. Watson, his allergies get worse, and of course he's got such a thick coat that he's always hot, and it's just no fun for any of us. I know most of you will be loving the fact that it's going to be really good weather this weekend. Anyway, most of what I'm talking about today is actives in my current favourite skincare. But there's a couple of other things as well, and I think this is easier to do than giving you my skincare routine because I change my routine depending on how my skin is feeling. So I think I'll do this again in the not too distant future and tell you, see if how many of these things remain in my favourites. So let's start with cleansing. This one is not a new favourite, but it is the Inkey List Oil and Water Double Cleanser. I just love this stuff, and my routine has changed a little bit with the whole lockdown situation. I'm not sure why, but I'm not removing my makeup in the bath or shower as I usually do. I'm doing it later on, and so I'm doing it with this, and I just love it. It just effortlessly takes off my eye makeup, and yeah, there's no rubbing or, you don't have to work too hard to get your makeup off. You can see I have nearly used this all up, but I have got another 2 bottles. I bought them when they were on offer at Feel Unique. So it's normally like half water, half oil, and it's got sea buckthorn oil in it, which I love. So love that. I follow that with a micellar water, and this is my current favourite. And again, you can see I've nearly run out. I haven't repurchased this yet from Amazon just because of the current situation. I'm trying to use what I've got, and I've got 3 bottles of Superdrug B pure micellar water, which I still love, but I just love the fact that this has got a cucumber scent, and I love the bottle. It's got like, a tiny little hole, so it's just, you kind of squirt. I don't know why I prefer that sort of packaging. I just love this, really, really love it. And whenever I talk about micellar water, somebody will inevitably put a comment saying, you should rinse micellar water off. I've done a whole video about should you rinse micellar water off. For me, I'm happy not to, and I explain all my reasons in that video, so I'll link that for you. So that's me kind of done my cleansing, and then I move on to actives, which, like I say, I've got quite a few. Now, I don't use all of these every night. I mix and match them depending on how my skin's feeling. So if I am going to be doing a self-tan the following day, I'll most likely use my acids just to make sure that there's, no dead skin and that every bit of the last self-tan has disappeared. On a Saturday, I'm using a retinoid, and I've actually just increased that to using it on a Wednesday, and then the other nights I will probably use things like peptides and vitamin C's. So let me start with this. This is Differin. So I wanted to mention this because I'm really getting on quite well with this. And again, when I talk about retinoids, people will talk about using tretinoin and how I should start slowly and blah, blah, blah. I've done years of videos on how I tried it very slowly and I increased it very slowly, but my skin was just peeling so much that my foundation never sat right, and for me it wasn't, it was a deal breaker. But I did stick at it for quite a long time, and then when I did the tretinoin flooding around my eyes, I didn't see any difference. In fact, it made them look worse. So I thought I would try something that still has some proof for aging, but not quite as much. Obviously, it's not quite as proven as the tretinoin. But I'm really enjoying this in terms of it not being quite as sensitizing. It doesn't. I can always tell when I'm using a retinol, a retinoid, a tretinoin, Differin, whatever, because that area of my skin, wherever I'm using it on, becomes a little bit more sensitive to acids, and I can feel them a little bit more. And obviously you get the dry patches, but I'm not getting anywhere near the dry patches that I got with using tretinoin. So really enjoying it just now. Whether or not it's doing anything, I don't know. I am using it all over my face. I'm not using it on my neck just because it interferes too much with self-tanners normally. Although I'm not finding that with this one, so maybe I will extend it down to my neck. I was using it on a Saturday night, and then a few days later noticing some dry flaky patches and some irritation. Not even irritation, just I could feel the tingling of my acids where normally I can't feel it. And so I've now increased it to Wednesday and Saturday, and we'll see how I get on. That's a 0.1% Differin or adapalene. By the way, I get mine on prescription because even now I've got a little spot in the middle of my chin. But this is something I used for years for acne, so I still have it on prescription, thankfully. Okay, so like I said, if my skin was really flaky and dry, or if I was doing a self tan, that's when I would use my acids. And for me, I love this combination of the Ordinary Glycolic Acid 7% and the lactic acid this one is from Superdrug. It's the Me Plus range. Do you remember I did a whole video on this skincare range? So I've always loved the glycolic acid toner from the Ordinary. It's just, you know, really good ingredient, a good level. It's 7%. I just go over my face after using my micellar water. And for me, I feel like this is good to use before this because it gets my skin at the right pH, and that works for me. So for some people that may be too sensitive, but bear in mind this one is a 5%, and I have used this combined with a 10% before, the one from the Ordinary. So I love this. This one is, I said I liked it when I got it. I don't love it as much as the Ordinary one. It's a bit more watery, but I like that this one is 5%, and I can, you know, use it and not worry about any kind of irritation. Not that I get irritation from the 10% one, but I can't remember if I've used the 10% one plus the glycolic acid whilst using a retinoid. So those two together are working really, really well for me. So it gets rid of any flaky skin. My skin feels really, really soft. And, you know, remember lactic acid also draws water to it. So it does help my skin feel hydrated. So love those two together. Everything else is kind of vitamin C, and I wouldn't generally use the vitamin C on the same nights as the acids unless it was a derivative. So actually there's only one here I wouldn't use on the same night, so I would use my derivatives. But this is a combo that I'm talking about. So this is the Hada Labo, there's my traditional drop in something, Hada Labo Super Hydrator Hyaluronic Acid, and then this is the Ordinary Vitamin E 23%. And I'm delighted that I can use these two together, because I think when I bought this one before, I just ended up throwing it out because I could not use it. My skin was just so irritated. So I've now got into a good routine. If I do 3 small pumps of this and then 1 good little drop of this, mix that together, put that all over my face and neck, and I get no irritation at all. And I don't know why, but I haven't found it's been balling up as much lately. Do you remember when I talked about these in my vitamin C video? I said that it's been pilling on my skin and that was really annoying me, but it hasn't been doing that lately. I don't know whether I haven't paid enough attention. It may be that I've not used an oil on that night, although I'm using one or other oil pretty much every night. So I don't know, but I am really enjoying that I can use this, because I like that this is a 23% ascorbic acid, you know. And so if you're going to use a vitamin C and judge if it's working or not, it's a great way. It's a great way of trying it, because it is the real deal. And so using it with this, I've checked the pH, it doesn't seem to affect it, but my skin doesn't seem to be irritated. So I've been loving that. My skin feels nice afterwards as well. Obviously in my videos, there's not an awful lot of, this is the changes I've seen in my skin with these products, because really I only believe that that will happen with the proven ones. So maybe with this, you know, I'll see how my skin looks in 6 months after I've been using this for 6 months. And also I've only recently started focusing on vitamin C, and again I would say 3 to 6 months before I see any real difference. And obviously I'm using lots of different things, so it would be hard to tell what had produced the results. But as long as I am feeling like my skin is doing well and I think they feel nice on and they make my skin feel nice, then that's what I'm looking for. Make my skin feel nice, lovely to use, and good ingredients and no nasty ingredients. So on to the next one. This one was a surprise for me how much I loved it. Now I did do a video on the Beauty Bay skincare. This is the Beauty Bay Brightening Serum, Vitamin C and Peptide. And I said to you in that I was loving this, but I didn't think I'd love it so much that I really want to repurchase it. There's a little bit left in here. I saved a bit so that I could show you, although I'm not sure how much what that actually tells you. I sometimes do videos of me applying skincare when I'm talking about them, but only if I feel like there's something you can see from it. Like there's nothing here that I think you would benefit from seeing, if that makes sense. You know, like things like an SPF and whether it has a white cast would be beneficial. But this, there's no way I can explain to you how lovely it makes your skin feel, and that's why I want to repurchase it. It's got peptides in it, it's got a vitamin C derivative, so it's the sodium ascorbyl phosphate from memory. And so it's not a hugely powerful active, but it's got nice ingredients, it's got nothing nasty in it, and my skin felt so lovely. And it was very soothing. You know, this is not how it's described. It's described as brightening and evening out skin. That's not something I've noticed, but I found it extremely soothing. Putting it on top of my acids was great because it's a derivative. You don't need to worry about what you mix it with. I would really like to repurchase this. So this is definitely on my wish list, if you like, because it's something I felt like I could use underneath oils, over the top of anything else, you know, and it just, like I said, really, really made my skin feel hydrated. And then the final vitamin C is the Garden of Wisdom C Deep Vitamin C. Now, I've done a whole review on this and said to you that whilst I love how it feels on my skin, I can't see where they're getting their claims from. Actually, that's not true. I could see where they were getting their claims from, but it didn't, they were definitely overinflated, and I couldn't see the evidence for this ingredient, which is another vitamin C derivative. However, I'm really enjoying this. I suspect it's because of the squalane, but I like the idea of using a squalane with an active ingredient in it, even if it is a derivative. So I am really enjoying the feel of this on my skin, but I've enjoyed squalane before. For example, I enjoyed the BYBI squalane with bakuchiol, but I didn't find bakuchiol as an ingredient did anything. I did a 6 months test with that. And again with this, I think I'm enjoying the squalane. I don't like the squalane from the Ordinary, weirdly, but I like that I'm using a squalane with a vitamin C derivative in it, if that makes sense. So this is something I would definitely consider repurchasing. You only need to use the tiniest amount of this. There's no irritation. It's again one of those products that you can kind of use with anything because of it being a derivative, and it's really, really soothing and it's really, really hydrating. So I love that, and that would be a consideration as a repurchase for me. Although it's quite expensive, so this isn't something I'm going to just go, right, I need to have that in my routine. It's not many things apart from maybe my micellar water that are consistent with me, because I'm happy to try different products with the same actives that I'm looking for in, but this would be a kind of treat product. I like the packaging on this as well. Okay, so if I'm not using the vitamin C squalane, then which has been most of the time, to be honest, I've used this most nights, but if not, I would be using the borage oil from the Ordinary. I've loved this for quite a while. The reason I would use the borage oil over the squalane one is, you know, the vitamin C, is because if my skin was feeling really, really dry, and I felt like it really needed a hit of oil, because this is a much richer oil, you can see there, you know, it leaves a shine, whereas this one I don't believe does, because this is a dry oil. So this one, you can see it kind of absorbs a lot better. This one is a much richer oil, and so I only have to use this one for one night and it changes my skin. You know, it does really work on any kind of dryness, any tightness, any flakies, anything like that. So if I get to a stage where everything else isn't working, I will use some of this and it does the trick. So love that. And then the very last item is another beauty-based skincare item and another surprise to me. So when I did the review, I did a whole review of the beauty-based skincare line, and I did say that I was enjoying this, and it's called the Day One Moisturiser, Ginseng plus Squalane, funny enough. For protecting and hydrating skin. I love the packaging, and I said at the time that I really like this, but my issue with it was that it has peppermint in it, because you guys know how I feel about having fragrance in skincare. This is a really lovely light moisturiser. It's not a heavy rich one. The other one, the one in the pot, now I know that it's in my empties because something was happening when I was using it. I don't know whether, I think that's where I got all these bumps over my skin, and I thought it might have been from that. And I wasn't loving using that one. This one I was really loving, and actually the ingredients are better in the other one. This one, by rights, should have been the one that came, you know, brought me out in bumps, because it has peppermint oil in it. Did I just say that? Did I just repeat myself? Possibly. But for me personally, I use peppermint oil for my migraines, and I will put it, I used to put it neat on my head, which you absolutely don't do. And I know you're not supposed to do, I know that about essential oils, but it was just such a relief for me. Honestly, it was like the pain was unbearable. And so if I was gonna burn my head off, I was okay with that as long as I didn't have to suffer the pain. So I'm now using it at a 50-50 ratio with fractionated coconut oil, but that's still too intense. But I've been using that for years, many years, and it hasn't done anything to my skin. It hasn't sensitized me, and I know that I get on okay with peppermint oil. And I love the scent. When I put it on my head, I normally get a cotton bud with what I'm using the essential oil on, and put just the tiniest little bit here on my nose so that I can inhale it, and it helps me. So I don't know if that's why I'm loving this, because it's not a strong scent. It's only, you put it on your face, and as you do that, of course, you're going past your nose and it's like, oh, peppermint, and it smells lovely. But then immediately even on my hand, I can't smell any peppermint. It's only just as you're putting it on, so it's quite light. So for me, this is one of those odd standout products that I'm not too fussed about the fact that it's got fragrance in it, because for me, I know that my skin is pretty much okay with peppermint. I really enjoy the smell. I've just found this a lovely end to my routine. And the other thing is, I'm using this normally on top of the borage oil or the squalane oil. And so it's unlikely to penetrate something like this, but it just seems to sort of seal everything in. And like I said, it's just a nice end to my routine. But I have tested out this in terms of, is it okay on its own? Did my skin react, and was it moisturising enough? And on both counts, it was fine. I had no breakouts from this at all, and my skin was hydrated enough, which I'm surprised at, because there's some things I use that say they're for dry skin and my skin still feels tight afterwards, but this one was really good. So I really like this. It's called the Day One Moisturiser. Wow, that felt like it went really quickly. That's everything that I've got to tell you about today. Like I said, I may do this again in the future. I don't currently have any new skincare brands that I am intending on trying out, but then I haven't been to the shops since lockdown, obviously for a couple of weeks. Let me know if there's any brands you would like me to try. I do always look at them if you make suggestions, but often there's reasons I can't review them. It could be that they're not cruelty free, because obviously I'm trying to use cruelty free. It could be that they're too expensive, because something like, for example, Drunk Elephant, well, I would love to review all of their products, but I can probably afford one. And I have reviewed their retinol, and I think it's the Proteiny cream I used. Other products are not available to us in the UK. That's pretty much it. Anything else I will usually have a look at and definitely consider reviewing. There was one called Q&A Skin that I've noted down that I need to have a look into, so let me know if that's one of interest, or like I said, if there's any others that you've been hearing about that you'd like to know about. And then, yeah, in a couple of months we can come back and see how many of these are my favourites, how many have stayed in my favourites, and have I got any new things. The only thing with things like these from Beauty Bay are that because I don't see them in the shops, I will probably forget these, like once I've used these up, it's not something that will ever be in my mind. I need to almost keep bottles like this in a bag of, these are my favourites, and if ever your skin is feeling a bit meh, you need to go and have a look in this bag and go, oh yeah, I'll buy some of that. Do you know what I mean? Or I guess a list would be easier than keeping the bottle, which I always intend to do, but then again, I never remember to look at the list, so I don't know. That's everything for today. I hope that was interesting. I'll tell you what I've got on my face. I have on the Kiko Full Coverage Concealer and Foundation. I love it because it's got a doe foot in it, and I know a lot of people don't like that. I really do. But I have to say, I already recorded this and it went wrong for several reasons, and I was watching it back and thinking, my foundation doesn't look that great. I think I was a bit closer up though, and because I noticed I've got bags today, I've sort of moved myself back a bit in the hope that they don't show as much. But anyway, Kiko Full Coverage Foundation and Concealer, and I'm not going to repurchase that. On my eyes is the Bare Minerals pigment in Vanilla Sugar. On my cheeks is the Colourpop blush that I don't love, and so I don't think I'm going to keep that one. I don't know the name of it, but I will list it in the description. And then on my lips is the Lime Crime liquid lipstick in Marshmallow. These earrings are very old, they're from H&M, but I love them. And this top is from Mint Velvet. And like I said, probably the last time we see me wearing it, because it'll be summer soon. That's everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon.